5 Haunting Mysteries Never Told, Still Unsolved at Midnight. Volume 3 reveals the unthinkable. In the dead of night, when the world slumbers, there are stories that defy reason. Dark tales woven with shadows and whispers. 5 mysteries nestled in darkness, still unanswered, still haunting the souls who dare to seek the truth. One starlit eve, a trembling hand lifted the tattered edge of an old newspaper, revealing a faded headline that screamed, "A town vanished into thin air." In an instant, hearts raced and loose lips murmured. The very air crackled, thick with suspense. What happened to those innocent lives? Was it fate, or something far more sinister? A man's crooked shadow flickered across the empty street, where once happy children laughed. They had disappeared, leaving behind only echoes of their joy. Ghostly figures were said to roam the streets at midnight, reliving their final moments. Would you dare to walk that path alone? The townsfolk would tell you stories, hushed voices warning of the man in the black hat, waiting at the old oak tree, waiting for any soul to wander by. Then, there was the legend of the silver car seen crashing on a lonely road, but never found again. Those who caught a glimpse claimed they heard unsettling laughter, a sound that chilled the spine and curled the hair. Have you seen it? They'd ask, eyes wide with fear. No answers emerged, just stories that grew with each passing night. Now, with your heart pounding, imagine yourself standing in a decaying hall filled with whispers, voices of those lost to time. Each room hides its own secret, each corner filled with the weight of untold truths. Can you feel that shiver run down your spine? The stories are thick in the air, begging to be told, daring you to uncover them. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Now, the tales twist deeper. Investigators found a diary, pages torn, revealing hastily written entries, frantic sketches that made no sense. They described a doorway leading to an echo, a dark place where forgotten dreams go to die. As you peer over the shoulder of the author, you can almost feel the shadows pressing in. What could lie behind that door? Friends would warn you to leave it alone, but the irresistible pull of curiosity beckons. A question lingers in the air. Will you step through that threshold where reality and nightmares merge? The clock ticks louder, and the choice lies before you. To flee or to face the darkness head-on. What will you choose? The moon hung high, casting a silver glow over the forgotten town, now a mere echo of its former self. As midnight approached, a soft breeze whispered through the cracked windows of the abandoned houses, carrying with it the scent of decay and lost time. Each creak of the floorboards felt like a heartbeat, reminding you that you weren't alone, even in the silent night. With trembling hands, you unlatched the old gate leading to the cemetery, the one place where the line between this world and the beyond blurred. Entering felt like crossing into an abyss, the air thick with the weight of history, desperation, and secrets that begged to be uncovered. Shadows danced between the tombstones, twisting and turning as if taunting you, daring you to follow where they led. Light from your cell phone flickered, illuminating a mausoleum at the far end, its stone worn and tattered, as if resisting the pull of time. You could almost hear voices calling your name, trapped souls whispering warnings drowned by the wind. Could it be imagination, or was it something more? With each step, doubt gnawed at the edges of your resolve. You hadn't come this far just to turn back now. Though fear clutched at your chest, suddenly, a soft laughter echoed, chilling your bones. Not joyous laughter. It was hissing and silvery, wrapping around you like a cold embrace. Sweat trickled down your back as you turned in the direction of the sound, but the path lay deserted. Who or what was watching you? A rustle came from behind a nearby oak. Your heart raced. What if it was the man in the black hat? The ones you heard about in hushed tones? Stories flooded your mind, conflicting tales of his cursed existence, half terrifying, half hilarious. You felt an innate urge to flee. but the unbearable draw of the unknown kept your feet rooted to the ground. "Help me." The words danced in the breeze, soft yet urgent. They seemed to emanate from the mausoleum. A shiver cascaded down your spine. You couldn't resist. You edged closer, curiosity clawing at your instinct to run. The door creaked open as if it had been waiting for you all along, with hints of warmth beckoning you inside. Inside, the air changed, thick with the scent of dried flowers and damp earth. Your senses heightened. Every breath felt heavy with significance. Dust particles floated in the dim light as you moved farther in. The walls were lined with portraits of solemn faces, eyes like black holes pulling at your consciousness. With every step deeper, it felt as if the walls themselves were closing in. In the center, you found an altar, covered in cobwebs yet alive with whispers. Something glistened atop it, a faded silver locket, reminiscent of a long-lost artifact. An irresistible urge pulled at you, an instinct deeper than curiosity. You reached for it, but as your fingers brushed the cold metal, the laughter returned, louder this time, echoing through the chamber like an angry storm. The walls shuddered, and the ground trembled. You stepped back, your heart pounding in terror as shadows morphed into sinister shapes. The whispers grew louder, merging into a single question screamed through the ages. Will you uncover the truth, or will it consume you? And with that, the altar erupted in a blinding light. Your heart raced as reality shifted around you. The door slammed shut behind you, trapping you in a time when the town was alive, a time woven with tumult and despair. You were caught in a mystery that transcended the veil, now part of the very fabric you sought to unravel. What had you unleashed, and would you ever make it back? You could almost hear them laughing, but why? The search for the missing pieces of the town's past had only just begun, and you wondered if you were ready for what lay ahead. Would the truth bring salvation, or would it trap you forever? The light pulsed, a heartbeat echoing through the darkness. Shadows stretched and twisted, blurring the line between memories and nightmares. Air thickened with whispers, each word sharper than the last, slicing through your thoughts. You could feel them, the restless spirits, their stories weaving around you like a fog that barely let you breathe. "Do you see?" A voice echoed, faint yet piercing, a cacophony of exasperated sighs. "Do you feel what we felt?" You froze, the air feeling like ice against your skin. Eyes widened. Reality flickered like a dying film reel. The altar had transformed. What was once an ancient stone, now a vibrant canvas of past lives played out before you. Each face trapped in a silent scream. Each pair of eyes burrowing into your soul, pleading for recognition. "Get out." Another hissed, a whisper jagged with panic. Your heart raced, pounding against your ribs. The realization hit this place wasn't just haunted. It was alive, a portal to the torment that once engulfed the town. You stumbled back, the locket now a trap, anchoring you to this realm. Desperately, you scanned the room, searching for an escape. One wall splintered, revealing a crack where dark tendrils curled outward, reaching toward you like ghostly fingers. Instinct screamed to run, but dread held you in its icy grasp. The shadows grew bolder, coalescing into distinct figures. Among them, a woman with hollow eyes stepped forward, her lips curled in bitterness. "You've awakened us. You think you can uncover the truth." Her voice slashed through the murmurs, each syllable like shattered glass. "But the truth comes at a price." Time felt elastic, stretching and warping as you edged toward the dark crack. Every second counted. You needed answers, but they had strings attached. "What do you want from me?" You gasped, desperation bleeding into your words. "Your soul," the woman whispered, lips curving into a sadistic smile. The laughter returned, swirling around, mocking your fear. It vibrated in your bones, resonating deeper than a heartbeat. "Understanding requires sacrifice, dear one." Your vision blurred as the light intensified, casting long shadows on the walls and floor. You felt the pull of the past strengthening, tugging at your consciousness, urging you to witness their truth. Something within you yearned to know, to dig deeper. But the cost loomed, a specter at your shoulder. "Will you trade your peace for our lament?" Came the voice again, echoing inside your mind, slithering beneath your skin. One truth for another, the crack widened, revealing a glimpse of another world behind it, a world filled with flame and fury, shambling figures roaming aimlessly, lost in their own despair. Each specter contained a story not just of loss, but of revenge. Instinct stirred within you, to uncover, to speak, meant risking becoming part of that turmoil. Choose. The woman cried, her arms raised as the shadows surged toward you, manipulating the air, creating a whirlwind of fear that rattled the altar and blurred your senses. To flee is to forget, but to stay is to know. The voices crescendoed, a tempest demanding your decision. The light around you pulsated like a star about to burst. Would you unlock the memories of the Forsaken, altering their fates and your own, or would you retreat to your safer existence, leaving the past to rot in its grave? A choice lay before you, with dire consequences. The shadows coiled, waiting with bated breath. This was no mere moment in time. It was the very essence of courage and cowardice wrapped in a haunting embrace. And just as the choice loomed closer, a scream erupted from behind you, fierce and familiar, yanking you from the abyss. Don't you dare abandon us. Your heart raced. Who was it? What more awaited? You whipped around, the oppressive air thickening as dread coiled around your chest. Who had called out? The familiar voice hung in the air, the kind that could drown out the whispers of the trapped spirits. Lila. You gasped, heart thundering. Had she come looking for you? No. You had to focus. The shadows were still swirling, taking shape. Would they fight back if you moved? The room buzzed with energy, suspended in a moment stretched too far. Don't let them pull you in. Her voice sounded desperate now, layered with urgency. You couldn't see her yet, but you could feel her close, separated only by the chaos around you. I can help. Just reach for the light. Light? Was there light to reach for? The pulsing glow of the altar felt deceptive, drawing you into the very maw of the darkness. Behind you, Lila's silhouette shimmered, flickering like a candle in the wind. But at that moment, it was enough to break the thrall. Instinct kicked in, and adrenaline surged. You backed away from the altar, tearing your gaze from the wrathful spirits. Lila, where are you? You shouted, breath catching in your throat. Shadows clawed at your skin, each step back intensifying their rage. The woman with hollow eyes emerged again, more solid now, her voice dripping with disdain. You think you can run? This is your fate now. Shut up. You yelled, the words slicing through the air. I'm not afraid of you. You turned fully to face Lila, and everything else faded. Her expression was frantic, eyes wide with panic, a reflection of your own fear. I'm here, but you need to trust me. Follow my voice. Her tone was a lifeline, tethering you to sanity amidst the storm. With a surge of determination, you pushed through the oppressive darkness, trusting her. You pressed onward, reaching for the sound of her voice. The shadows behind you howled in fury, angry at your defiance. You paused for a split second, glancing back, noticing the figures now shifting, as if ready to leap forth, shimmering in malice. You cannot escape your fate. The woman shouted again, fury lacing her words. Fear gripped your throat, but you fought against it. I'm not your pawn. You shouted, turning away one final time. The flickering crack in the wall whispered promises of truths untold, but your heartbeat drummed louder. Keep moving, Lila urged. You locked eyes with her, desperation bleeding into your heart. I want to leave you. Just trust me. We can find a way. And there it was, the warmth of connection grounding you. You took a step toward her, breathing deeply as the shadows crashed behind you like a tidal wave. One more step, then another. The darkness thrummed, but the closer you got to Lila, the softer it felt, like footsteps on a quiet street at dusk. Suddenly, a hot rush of air exploded from the walls, and the voices reached a fevered pitch. You will regret this, snarled the woman, her cry teetering on the edge of madness. Lila extended her hand, fingers outstretched. Now, take my hand. You lunged forward, grasping her hand, and feeling the familiar pulse of warmth radiate through you. In that instant, the air shifted, and the world around you shattered like glass. You both stumbled, the vibrant energies colliding into a surge of light that burst forth, creating a shield around you that pushed back the shadows. But the barrier was fragile, and within it, you caught fleeting glimpses of eyes filled with hurt, voices screaming in grief. The woman's face contorted in rage. You will return. They always come back. For what? To be devoured? You shot back, heart racing, but a new sound emerged, a familiar hum, a melody that felt comforting and oddly nostalgic, intertwining itself with the chaos. The light beckoned, and in its glow, you could see a path threading through the darkness, illuminated not by the altar, but by hope. As you ventured forward, the shadows writhed, clinging desperately, but the noise of liberation surged ahead. Yet you could feel the woman's stare piercing through your back, a promise of retribution hanging in the air. What have you unleashed? She whispers in a chilling croak, and for a fleeting moment, your heart sank. Because deep down you knew this wasn't over. What awaited you beyond the shimmering veil was unknown, a trepidation wrapped in hope. Together with Lila, you stepped into the light, crossing into the unknown. But what horrors lay in wait on the other side? The moment your feet landed on solid ground, the air shifted. You blinked, adjusting to the brightness that enveloped you and Lila. It wasn't like the dimness of the altar room. This light was brilliant and warm, wrapping around you like a soft embrace. But there was an unsettling quality to it, a part of you that couldn't shake the feeling you were still being watched. You turned, half expecting the woman with hollow eyes to follow you. But the shadows seemed to hold their breath, remaining on the other side of the barrier. The hum intensified, creating a low, vibrating sound that resonated deep within your bones. Where are we? You asked Lila, your voice low, the vibrancy around you almost too much to bear. I don't know, she breathed, taking a step backward as if she sensed something behind her. But we need to stay vigilant. The scene around you blurred into focus, a landscape unlike anything you'd ever known. Glimmering lights flickered like stars against a dark canvas. But beneath the beauty lay an undercurrent of tension. You felt compelled to move forward, though the hollow reminder of the woman's warning echoed in your mind. You will regret this. With Lila's hand still firmly clasped in yours, you ventured deeper into this radiant world. Sparks danced in the air, swirling in playful arcs before disappearing into the ether. You could hear whispers, but they were different here, quieter, softer, like echoes of laughter twisting through the light. Stay close, Lila urged, and you could hear the tremor in her voice. Her grip tightened around your hand, and you noticed her eyes scanning the ground. You suddenly felt a jolt of panic slice through you. What is it? She didn't reply at first, biting her lip, then finally pointed at something on the ground, a swirling pattern of light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Look! The pattern shifted as if it had a mind of its own, revealing figures dancing within the light, faces twisted in joy and grief, flashes of memories that didn't belong to you. They spun in an eternal dance, trapped between whimsical euphoria and unspeakable sorrow. She's here, Lila gasped, her eyes wide. Who? You whispered, feeling a knot tighten in your stomach. The woman, from before. Just as you began to comprehend what Lila meant, the air thickened, heavy with dread. The radiant beauty around you dulled. Were you back in the shadows? A piercing shriek sliced through the serenity, causing your heart to skip a beat. The fabric of the light bent and twisted, and there she was, the woman with hollow eyes, emerging from the pulsating pattern on the ground. Her expression was consumed by unrestrained fury, the faint glimmer of desperation dancing at the edges. Did you think you could escape me? She growled, her voice reverberating with an uncanny echo, as if the very ground was responding to her wrath. What do you want? You shouted, your voice trembling yet tinged with defiance. I want what is mine, she hissed, stepping closer, her form shifting between light and shadow. Lila activated, her other hand raised. Back away. You can't have us. In a flash, beams of blinding light shot out from Lila's outstretched hand, splintering the air like glass. You felt an intoxicating rush, a power that filled the space, but the woman was undeterred, absorbing the energy effortlessly. You are still bound to this place, she seethed, the fire in her words igniting a dark thrill in the air. And you will return. The atmosphere crackled and split, sending shocks through your body. A key realization hit you. This wasn't just an arena of escape. It was a battlefield. Fear and uncertainty surged through you, but so did a flicker of rebellion. We won't let you. You yelled, knowing deep inside the battle for freedom was only just beginning. The woman's face twisted into a malignant grin. Then endure the game. And remember, something worse waits in the shadows. As she vanished back into the light, the reality of her words laid heavy, each syllable a promise of nightmare yet to come. With urgency propelling you, you grabbed Lila's hand. Tighter. We have to move. Whatever she unleashed could be coming for us. With a burst of shared determination, you forged ahead, ignoring the eerie echoes of laughter and cries swirling around you. At that moment, all you could think about was survival. What else lay hidden in the folds of this radiant prison? You had crossed one threshold, but now you feared more than one enemy awaited. What game was she playing, and what would be the cost of your defiance? The ground felt unstable beneath your feet, pulsing in a rhythm that matched the frantic hammering of your heart. You glanced sideways at Lila, seeing the flicker of fear in her eyes. "Keep moving," she murmured, her voice shaking. You pushed onward, but the landscape shifted as you walked, responding to your every thought and inclination. The lights flickered and dimmed, revealing dark crevices where shadows lingered waiting, watching. You could feel them behind you, slipping in between the layers of light, whispering secrets you dared not grasp. "Where do we go?" Your voice was barely above a whisper, rising over the growing din. It felt like the very air was filled with the collective breath of something ancient and unforgiving. "Over there." Lila pointed towards a shimmering archway that emerged from a cluster of light, the entrance seeming to pulse with promise or perhaps a trap. You exchanged a nervous glance, but even the weight of fear couldn't keep you from moving. You rushed toward the archway, feeling a desperate pull as if it yearned for your presence. As you stepped inside, the light enveloped you, but the warmth felt different, colder, sharper. The sound of laughter turned into low, sinister cackles that sent chills racing down your spine. Then you heard a faint cry, distant yet haunting. It was a sound of despair that cut through the laughs, freezing you in place. "Did you hear that?" you asked, the words barely escaping your lips before the sound echoed again. Closer now, an echo of pain. "It's coming from over there." Lila grabbed your arm, urgency lacing her tone. You followed her gaze to a set of luminous circles floating above the ground, each one glowing softly, like an unlit candle waiting for a spark. As you approached, a figure emerged from one of the circles, transfixing you in place. A boy lost and scared, his face drawn with tears that shimmered like crystals in the glow. "Help me," he pleaded, extending a trembling hand toward you. "Please don't," Lila shouted, pulling you back just as you felt the urge to reach out. "But he needs help." You insisted, your heart racing against reason. "The woman, she uses them. It's a trap." Lila's voice was frantic, forcing you to remember the threats around you. But the boy's eyes were wide with pleading. "Let me go," he cried out, a sound so raw it made your chest ache. You could feel his pain gripping at your heartstrings, calling you to him as though the weight of his sorrow could pull you through to him. "Don't listen." Lila's grip tightened, dragging you away from the circle. "We have to keep moving." Your instincts battled against each other, every fiber of your being wanted to save him. But the darkness of the woman's words hung heavily in your mind. "What if he's real?" You croaked out, uncertainty gnawing at your resolve. In that moment, the cackles intensified, surrounding you like a tempest. The boy's expression twisted into one of fury, his kind eyes transforming into hollow voids mirroring the woman's. "You will regret this," he echoed, the laughter morphing into blaring shrieks that sent you reeling back. Lila seized your arm, propelling you forward as the circles began to pulse violently, vibrant light shifting into chaotic patterns. You stumbled, but managed to keep your feet beneath you, each beat of your heart echoing the terror of the moment. "Where do we go?" you gasped, panting heavily. "The center." Lila pointed, her eyes narrowed through the chaos. "There may be a way out." You pushed aside the horrors you just glimpsed, focusing on the center. The pulsating lights blurred around you, the exit within reach, but doubt clawed at your resolve. What awaited you at the center? Was it salvation, or would it be another nightmare? As you sprinted forward, the shadows grew thicker, encasing you with an eerie familiarity that chilled you to the bone. Just as you reached the threshold, a scream split the air, a sound that resonated through your very soul, leaving you standing at the edge of truth and terror. What lay waiting in the center? Would you find the exit, or were you destined to sink deeper into the darkness? You burst through the threshold, the pulse of the chaotic lights hitting you like a wave. The air crackled around you, a thick veil of energy that made every hair stand on end. The center was a vast chamber, illuminated by dozens of swirling lights that danced in erratic patterns. The walls shimmered, revealing swirling images of what looked like distant worlds, each filled with its own brand of darkness and despair. Stay close. Lila's voice broke through the din, firm yet laced with anxiety. She stumbled at your side, her eyes darting everywhere at once. Something shifted in the air, a presence that felt like an oppressive weight. Instinctively, you glanced behind you. The shadows were still there, lurking at the edges of the light, shifting and writhing like living creatures. You swallowed hard, your throat tight with fear. Lila turned, directing your attention to a large, ornate pedestal at the center of the chamber. A dark orb sat atop it, pulsating with a dim, sinister glow. It felt both mesmerizing and repulsive, an object that demanded attention while simultaneously evoking dread. That's it. We need to touch it, she urged. But what if it's a trick? Hesitation dripped from your voice. Your feet felt rooted to the floor, a primal urge to flee clawing at your chest. Do you want to spend eternity wandering this place? Lila shot back, the challenge igniting a flicker of determination in your gut. Before you could respond, the boy's voice echoed again, now a piercing whisper that sliced through the chaos. You'll never escape, never. It was as though he materialized from the shadows, his figure shifting in and out of focus, trapped within the chaos of the orb. His face was twisted in agony, writhing in the throes of despair. Touch it, Lila cried, fear mingling with desperation. Her eyes locked onto yours, and you felt that primal connection, the urge to save one another pushing you forward. With a deep breath, you stepped closer to the pedestal, each heartbeat thunderous in your ears. The further you moved, the more palpable the darkness grew, wrapping around you like a suffocating blanket. You hesitated, the orb emanating an almost hypnotic draw. Help him. The boy's plea tore through your thoughts, pulling you into his tortured gaze. You can free us both, the shadows roared, wrenching your thoughts with a cacophony of emotion, panic, sorrow, anger. Lila's grip tightened on your arm, bringing you back. This isn't real, she screamed over the din. It's trying to manipulate you. That realization hit you hard. The boy wasn't a beacon of hope. He was a shadow, a trap disguising itself as a plea for aid. The darkness threatened to envelop you, and the laughter returned, swirling around like a storm, drowning out reason. Now, Lila shouted, her voice slicing through the chaos. You lunged forward, hand reaching for the orb, the promise of answers, of escape pulsing beneath your fingertips. Just as your skin brushed against the surface, the air stilled, an electric moment that stood heavy with consequence. You felt the orb respond, a shiver shooting through you, but suddenly, everything exploded into brilliant light. The laughter stopped, replaced by an eerie silence that felt thicker than the shadows. All you could hear was Lila's panicked breathing next to you, echoing the confusion in your mind. Then, with a deafening crash, the ground beneath the pedestal cracked, fissures spreading out like spiderwebs, echoes of whispers rising from within. What did we do? Lila gasped, her eyes wide in horror. From beneath the cracks, fingers emerged, skeletal and pale, grasping at the air. Panic surged, motivating every fiber of your being to flee. Two icy hands clamped around your ankle, and you felt the pull sharp and unyielding, trying to drag you down into darkness. Run! Lila screamed, and you tore yourself away, adrenaline surging as you sprinted back toward the archway, the lights dimming behind you. As you dashed through the chaotic chamber, the shadows screamed, their voices blending in a haunting symphony of despair and fury. With every step you felt the cold touch of something ancient and wicked clawing at your back. The archway loomed ahead, but would it lead you to freedom, or was it a doorway into even deeper madness? The ground rumbled again, and the darkness swirled violently around, threatening to consume you both. Don't look back, Lila shouted. You kept your gaze fixed on the light, hope shimmering at the edge, but the sense of dread felt insurmountable. Was escape even possible? Or were you just pawns in a far more sinister game? What if the true nightmare was yet to come? Would the darkness release its grip, or would it drag you into its depths forever? The rush of adrenaline propelled you forward, your feet pounding against the stone floor. The archway loomed closer, a beacon of hope amidst the swirling chaos. Lila was just a step behind, her breaths coming in quick gasps. Every inch was a battle against the unseen forces clawing at your retreating forms. Faster, she urged, her voice a sharp knife slicing through the shadows. You could feel the chill of the skeletal fingers still lingering on your ankle, and tightening your muscles felt like a futile effort against that creeping dread. The crack in the ground widened, pulsing like a living thing, and more fingers clawed their way out, shadows given form, grasping at the air with a desperate hunger. You could hear their whispers now, rising into a mad crescendo. Join us. Join us. Forever a sudden sense of clarity struck. What if we fight it? You shouted, the idea sparking hope. What if we push back against whatever this is? Lila glanced at you, her eyes fiercely lit. Okay then. Focus. We have to believe we can escape. You pulled energy from deep within, digging deep for memories of joy, laughter, and bright daylight. You thought of the summer days spent laughing with friends, the warmth of the sun, the safety of home. A flicker of determination ignited in your chest. You weren't alone. You felt Lila's fiery resilience right beside you. The shadows surged forward, but instead of fear, you felt defiance welling up. We will not be taken, you yelled, your voice ringing through the chamber, and the darkness momentarily stilled. Now, push, Lila shouted, and as if in response, you both let out a unified scream, an eruption of raw emotion, fear, defiance, hope, all merging into a singular force aimed at the abyss. The energy pulsed from you, expanding outward in bright tendrils that shattered the shadows into wisps of smoke. They screamed, but instead of drawing you in, the darkness recoiled as you surged toward the archway. Just a few steps away now, and you could see the faint outline of light shining through. The shadows thrashed, clawing at your legs, but you forced through the pain. The archway seemed to twist and bend, the light intensifying as if recognizing your fight. Keep going, Lila urged, her voice like a lifeline. As if finally realizing its inability to hold you back, the darkness let out a final, anguished wail. It sounded both furious and defeated, echoing through the chamber as the crack trembled beneath your feet. With one final leap, you dashed through the archway. A shockwave of light enveloped you both, and for a heartbeat, you were suspended in a dazzling white void. When you landed on the other side, disoriented, you stumbled into a fresh expanse. The air was crisp, untouched by the hauntings of the dark chamber. You blinked rapidly, your senses reeling. But as the world around you came into focus, something felt off. Shapes moved ominously beyond the clearing you had landed in. You glanced between the trees lining the path ahead, pale mist curling around their bases as though the forest was hiding something. And then you realized the boy, the trapped figure, had followed you. His face emerged from the mist, twisting in agony as he lifted his arms towards you both. You can't escape your fate, he shrieked, the haunting echo making your blood run cold. Lila stumbled back, her face turning pale. What have we done? The twisted roots of the trees began to shift, forming into eyes, mouths, and more skeletal figures emerging from the mist, ready to reclaim what had escaped. With every instinct screaming at you to flee, the weight of what lay before you pressed down like an anvil. Had you truly escaped, or was this just the beginning of another nightmare? You exchanged a look with Lila, one filled with both fear and determination. We can't go back, you whispered, and the shadows stirred. What awaited you in this new realm? Would the darkness strike again, or was there a deeper truth waiting to be uncovered? Panic surged through you as the boy's voice echoed in your mind. You can't escape your fate. The hollow of his eyes seemed to suck the light from the air, and the skeletal branches shifted ominously around you. This was no ordinary forest. This was a realm where shadows walked as freely as the living. Lila, we need to move, you urged, grabbing her hand. The pulse of dread quickened in your chest as the ground beneath your feet quivered. The trees alive with malevolent intent met your gaze with hollowed stares, and you could feel the sinister energy radiating from them. With Lila right beside you, you sprinted deeper into the mist, the sensation of being hunted gnawing at your insides. Lila's breath was ragged, her fear palpable. What if he's right? What if we're trapped here forever? Her voice wavered with a mix of uncertainty and desperation. You bit down on your fear. No, we can't let that thought take root. We have to find a way out together. The trees closed in around you as if drawing tighter to consume the light of your determination. The air abruptly chilled, and you shivered as you ducked beneath a low-hanging branch. You could hear the whispers again, the shadows circling, taunting. Join us, focus on the light," you directed, stealing glimpses of where the fog thinned ahead. It was a surge of hope within your own chest brimming with warmth, almost like a heartbeat, making you persist. Keep running. Just ahead, a slight glimmer broke through the haze, a beacon that urged you forward. But then, the ground shook violently. Lila stumbled next to you, and you caught her before she could fall. "Look out," you shouted, eyes widening as dark tendrils erupted from the soil, reaching for your legs. The skeletal hands clawed at your ankles desperately. With every ounce of strength, you kicked free and tightened your grip on Lila's arm. But your escape came at a cost. One of those ghastly fingers grazed your skin, delivering a freezing jolt that coursed through you like ice. You gasped, staggered back, and Lila caught your startled eyes, horror dancing over her features. "Are you okay?" You swallowed hard, fighting the wave of disorientation. "Just keep going. Don't look back." As you broke into a clearing, the mist thinned momentarily. But your respite was short-lived. The whispering chorus turned into a frenzied shriek. "You cannot escape. You are bound to us." The ground ahead began to crack, and shadows spiraled upward, twisting into gnarled figures that writhed in agony. As they formed, faces distorted and twisted, your heart raced with dread. There was the boy once more, his expression a grotesque mix of agony and triumph. "This is your fate, twisted into an eternal punishment for your escape. You're drawn back to us." Lila froze, her voice barely above a whisper. "What do we do? We're outnumbered." "No." The fire inside you ignited again. "We have to counter it. We have to believe we can break the cycle." But just as you steeled yourself, an earth-shattering roar rose from the shadows, drowning out your resolve. The ground split further, revealing an abyss that pulsed with darkness. The bone fingers thrashed wildly, and screams of those who defaced the darkness echoed around you. "Trust me," you yelled to Lila, your heart racing under the pressure of the encroaching shadows. "We have to reach the light, no matter the cost." The figures lunged, their clawing hands desperate to pull you back. Lila held firm, but doubt flickered in her eyes. Could you fight fate? Could you truly escape once more? With that question weighing heavy, you dashed forward, the pulsating darkness closing in. What would happen if you failed? The stakes were never higher as you barreled towards the light. You felt the shadows claw at your back, hungry for a taste of defeat. Would you succeed in breaking these chains for good? You plunged forward, desperately believing you could win, knowing the answer awaited on the other side, just beyond the veil of impending darkness. The air buzzed with energy as you and Lila raced toward the shimmering light ahead. With each step, the darkness clawed at your heels, relentless, trying to drag you back into the churning abyss. You forced yourself to concentrate on the glowing exit, just a few strides away. Every heartbeat echoed like a drum, driving you forward, thick with determination. "Stay together," you shouted, urgency pushing your voice higher. Lila nodded, her grip on your hand unwavering. Even as shadows swirled around you like angry whispers, the sound of shrieks echoed from behind, a cacophony of tortured souls reaching out for you, pleading for a second chance or perhaps seeking vengeance. Their despair coated the air thick with dread, but you couldn't look back. There was no time for doubts. As you neared the exit, a massive shadow blocked your path, an ominous figure rising from the ground. It towered over you, a grotesque amalgamation of tortured beings, a dark sentinel made manifest. Anguish twisted its features, and from its mouth flowed a voice deeper than night, shaking your very core. "You cannot escape this fate. Watch out," Lila cried, pulling you back just as an arm of shadow shot out, narrowly missing you. The tendril coiled back, but it was relentless. "You have to believe," you shouted at Lila, trying to bolster both your resolve. You pushed forward, the light growing brighter, warm and inviting like safety awaiting your arrival. But the darkness surged, a need to consume you. To reclaim what it lost, the shadows roared, angry at your defiance. Lila stumbled, but you caught her, legs shaking. "We can't give up now," you gasped, adrenaline surging through your veins. "Together," she yelled, the determination in her eyes igniting your spirit. The light enveloped you now, rolling toward it like waves crashing against the shore. The barrier between despair and safety felt thin but palpable. You could almost taste freedom. With one last push, you both lunged forward, hands outstretched to the light. Everything erupted into brilliance, a blinding halo engulfed your senses, consuming the darkness behind you. The shadows screeched like banshees, their cries shattering against the wave of radiant energy, and then silence. You both tumbled out into the clearing, collapsing on soft grass, the night air fresh and cool against your sweaty skin. A hush enveloped you, a stillness so profound it felt unreal. You blinked up at the starry sky, the gentle glow of the moon illuminating the world around you, reflecting the joy of survival. What just happened? Lila whispered, her breath still shaky. Did we really escape? You sat up, dazed, shaking your head in disbelief. You glanced around as if the shadows could still creep up out of the night. But there was no sign of them. The weight of the lingering fear began to dissolve, replaced with the warmth of hope. Maybe, you replied, voice thick with emotion. But what about the boy? The shadows? Lila's expression shifted, a wave of concern flooding her face. We can't leave them behind. They were trapped for so long. You knew she was right, but how could you help? We have to figure out a way to send them back, but how? Suddenly, the bright glow of the moon seemed to pulse, illuminating a singular path leading deeper into the woods, an invitation or a warning. What if that's it? Lila pointed, eyes lighting up. What if there is some way to communicate, to set them free? Heart racing, you nodded. Let us try, but we need to be careful. Together, you followed the path, heartbeats in sync, filled with trepidation but resolute in your mission. As you ventured further, the feeling of being watched returned, a chill creeping down your spines. You could almost hear the distant whispers again, softer this time, but hopeful. The shadows of the past might not linger in that tree line, but their stories remained. Somewhere ahead, perhaps there lay a way for you to share their truths and, in doing so, bring closure to those still bound to the haunting lamentations of the night. And just like that, a newfound courage blossomed. Deep inside, you would not just escape, you would help them find peace. Striding confidently onward, the world opened before you, both solemn and filled with promise and light. This was the moment. You and Lila were ready to face whatever lay ahead, together, but as your resolve strengthened, the atmosphere shifted, and a low rumble of laughter began to rise in the distance, echoing through the trees. Now, your true journey was just beginning. This is it. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss what's next. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about how you'll see this play out. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this unbelievable conclusion.